What is going on, guys? Snickel here, and today I have another trophy talk for you. This is going to be for the week of November 22nd, 2020, and it has been quite an eventful week with games and getting things done in various other projects and everything. So anyway, with all of that being said, I guess we can just get right into this. Before I do get into the games that I have been playing this week and my schedule, air quoting here, schedule in the upcoming week or so, I do want to note that the project that I talked about in the last trophy talk, that being the podcast, actually aired its first official episode last week. So that is going to be, the channel for that is going to be linked down in the description below. So if you are interested in that, please do go check that out. It's just going to be something that me and a few people are going to be putting together every week. We're going to try to put it out every single Wednesday, just an hour or two discussion of, just games we've been playing, some news, various other things like that. So if you want to have something else to listen to, you can go check that out. That's down in the description below. We are going to be recording the next episode tonight and putting it out Wednesday for everyone, or tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that. But anyway, with all that being said, let's get into kind of what I've been playing this week. So I did miss the trophy talk last week, that being because I was doing everything with the podcast, trying to get everything together, and I was trying to get some visual things done. So it was taking a little bit longer than I really anticipated, but I am back. This is going to be, this is me, textbook me. But starting off, I believe last trophy talk, I did finish Ghost of Tsushima. That would have been on the 12th. So yeah, I definitely finished Ghost of Tsushima. That raid was, it was interesting, but definitely a cool addition to the game. And if you haven't picked up Ghost of Tsushima, you should definitely pick it up now. I think it's actually like super hard to find nowadays because there's so many people playing it. I don't even know how many owners this has. It's only got 84,000, which really isn't that much. But that's a phenomenal game. The raid is phenomenal. Everything about the game is phenomenal. I don't think there's a single thing that's bad. But anyway, up next we have Hitman Blood Money. I did finish Hitman Blood Money up, which was nice. I put all the trophy guides out. I put everything out that I wanted to put out video-wise for that. Platinum trophy videos out. So if you haven't checked that out, you can definitely check that out if you have a few extra minutes to spare. But yeah, I definitely enjoyed Hitman Blood Money. So if you guys don't know, I think I've talked about this before, between streaming and not streaming or whatever, just games I'm playing, I'm kind of alternating two franchises at a time. And there's two franchises that I'm focusing on are Hitman and Star Wars. So anything Hitman or Star Wars related is going to be done, and I'm just alternating between them. I am throwing other things in there here and there, but those are like the two main franchises that I'm trying to like quote unquote finish. So anyway, from a Hitman standpoint, I did hear that Blood Money was the best or better out of the older Hitman games. Now, I'm still on the Hitman HD trilogy on the PlayStation 3, that being Hitman 2, Silent Assassin, Hitman Contracts, and Hitman Blood Money. But out of the three of those games that I've completed so far, I think Hitman Blood Money and Hitman 2 are probably my two favorite out of that trilogy. But we're going to keep pushing on. We're going to keep playing them after we do some a Star Wars game, but something else is being played right now in between because, your boy got to play it. But up next for Hitman is going to be the worst game in the franchise, that being Hitman Absolution. So that's going to be quite interesting. We're going to be doing the PS3 version. I do plan on doing Hitman, Blood Money, and Absolution on the PS4 as well. But before I do that, I will be doing Hitman 1 and 2, the reboots on the PS4 before we do the Blood Money and Absolution re-release. I guess it's not even really a remake, but a re-release. So that got done. So that's really cool. I just love playing the Hitman games, dude. There's so much variation. So when you think of a Hitman game, you probably think like, oh, you need to be stealthy, you need to be silent, you need to blend in, you need to do this, you need to do that. Really, I have to say that Blood Money, and really just any Hitman game, that is what you have to do when you're playing on the professional difficulty, when you're trying to get a Silent Assassin rating, or really just a professional difficulty in general, because if you get shot like one or two times, you're dead usually. But when I was playing back through on the rookie difficulty, or the easiest difficulty, while I was just cleaning some things up and going for some guns, it was so fun to just play through the game like a completely different way, because when I was playing through the first time, I was trying to be stealthy. When I was going for Silent Assassin, obviously you can't get spotted or any of that, but once you get that trophy for getting 5 silent assassin ratings, you can, get spotted or do some things that are, questionable, but as long as you're getting through. So I would get spotted or, something would happen and I'd be like, oh, okay. But, it wasn't the end of the world. But when I played back through another time and I was kind of treating it like almost like a first person shooter, it was just a completely different experience. And I think that that's so awesome about the Hitman games is they give you that variation of like, you can do it stealthy if you want to, or you can go in like guns blazing if you want to. And obviously you have to do it stealthy for some trophies, but you can play the game guns blazing if you truly want to, once you get those few like stealthy trophies done. So I really enjoyed it. I'm just really looking forward to playing through all of them on the PS3 and PS4, and I'm looking forward to Hitman 3, which actually, I don't know if it officially got released, but you can at least pre-order it now, so that's pretty cool. Hitman 3 on the PlayStation 5, which I still don't have, so that's awesome. But yeah, that's Hitman Blood Money. Up next we have, oh my god, an infamous game. My Name is Mayo 2. Now, this has been the topic of conversation. My Name is Mayo has been the topic of conversation in these trophy talks for a few weeks now. And mainly because I always say like, hey, I don't really play easy peasy games. If I do, I don't stack them. And I always get well, you played Mayo. Well, Mayo was like a meme when it came out, and it really wasn't. Like, easy platinums weren't really like a thing. Like, an hour-long platinum was mind-blowing at the time that Mayo came out. So, My Name is Mayo 2 came out, I think, last week, and it's just crazy to see that it got a sequel. So, I did end up playing it because, you got to do the series, you got to do the franchise. If you're going to do the first one, you got to do the second one. And I think I'm actually still in, like, the top... I'm number 15 for fastest achiever, which is awesome. But yeah, Mayo 2, if you haven't picked it up, go pick it up. It's $1. It'll take you 30 minutes. It's not really... The thing with Mayo and Mayo 2 is I don't... Even though they are easy peasy platinums, they're literally a meme in and of themselves. It's not like Radalika games where like they're trying to make a game and make it have some gameplay functions, but then they don't force you to like play the whole thing. Like, Mayo is just like, you tap a Mayo jar. That's the game. That's literally the game. And it's just a meme in and of itself. And you got to dress the Mayo jar up. Mayo 2 actually adds different gameplay functions that make it a little more interesting. So it's pretty fun. But, it's just same old Mayo. Just tap the jar or just tap X as many times as possible. But... yeah, My Name is Mayo 2, complete. Up next, we have Dead Island on the PS3. Now, this has something that's been a little bit ongoing. About a few weeks ago, I finished up all of the DLC stuff, a lot of the DLC stuff, and a lot of the base game stuff in regards to co-op. And the last few things that I had left in co-op was I needed to complete 25 quests while playing with at least one co-op partner, which I did last Monday. And then I also, which I completed yesterday, was I needed to play with 10 different co-op partners for at least 15 minutes each. So with that being said, I actually am done all of the online in Dead Island on the PlayStation 3. So that might be a game that kind of pops up here and there. I do want to do Dead Island, obviously Dead Island, Riptide, but I kind of want to play them on the PS4 because they're so shit on the PS3 that I want to see how they play it on the PS4. So... I don't know if these will be games that I kind of sneak in between when I'm alternating, or if it's going to be like, okay, I'm doing the Dead Island franchise, even though there's only 4 games, still a little bit of time. So, the online for Dead Island is done. Needless to say, it's done. But last but not least, the game that I had to put down, I had to stop the alternating franchises from, because your boy is just a huge fan, is Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So I am playing the PlayStation 4 version of Assassin's Creed Valhalla because I don't have a PlayStation 5. But I'm not mad about that. I have to say I've probably put around 10-ish hours into the game, maybe a little bit more. And I have to say that I am not disappointed with the game at all. There may be one aspect of the game that I'm a little disappointed in, that being the combat, but as I actually play the game and kind of get through the story and get new weapons and stuff and abilities, the combat is slowly growing on me. So You guys all know probably that I was not a huge fan of Assassin's Creed Odyssey. A lot of people were not fans of Assassin's Creed Odyssey. That being that the story was convoluted, they paid no, mind to any sort of Assassin's Creed lore, any sort of story. The game was copied and pasted from Assassin's Creed Origins from the way it played. You had godlike superpowers. It didn't feel like an Assassin's Creed game. It felt like a completely different game. There was no sort of stealth. There was no sort of social stealth. There was nothing that made Assassin's Creed Assassin's Creed. And if you were kind of like on the edge of buying Valhalla because of Odyssey, I completely understand it. It's kind of like when people were on edge from buying Syndicate because of what happened with Unity. But I have to say, Valhalla remedies everything that Odyssey did wrong, and it actually feels like an Assassin's Creed game. Every aspect of the game feels like Assassin's Creed. The map, the characters, the story. I haven't gotten too much of the present day story. I've only gotten one little glimpse of it, so I'm not sure how that's going to turn out, because the present day story from Odyssey was quite a shit show, especially the DLC was laughable. But Valhalla it's doing everything right. It feels like an Assassin's Creed game, which is great. Or it feels like how an Assassin's Creed game should feel with this new open world format. And I said that about Origins back when it came out, but the thing with Origins was it was definitely focused on combat, and it was focused on, almost like a collectathon. When it comes down to Valhalla, it doesn't feel like a collectathon. You don't go into a location and the location is like, hey, you have to kill this war chief and you have to loot these 3 chests, and it doesn't do that. It puts these little orbs around the map. You go to the orb, it kind of tells you what the orb, there's green orbs, or sorry, not green. There's like a blue orb, a gold orb, and a small gold orb, and the blue orbs are they can be anything. They can be, they can be the fly tings, the rap battles, they can be random events, they can be artifacts, they can be pages, they can be anything. They brought the pages back from like Assassin's Creed 4 that you had to like run and follow. It gives you tattoos. I just think it's phenomenal. The other gold, the big gold circles give you wealth, so they give you things to upgrade your weapons. They give you, possibly new armor. They give you various other things, and then the little gold ones give you resources, so they give you resources to, again, upgrade your weapons, to upgrade yourself. And then the wealth also can give you abilities, and the power level is really interesting because you get 2 points. You get 2 points every time that you level up. You level up by XP, of course, and then I just think the way that the game is phenomenal. I honestly can't say anything bad about it. I really think that it is quite a good Assassin's Creed game. It brings back stealth. It brings back social stealth. You can go into an area that's like restricted, and when you do that, it'll tell you it's restricted, but you can like put a hood on and kind of hide from people. You can sit on benches. It's definitely Assassin's Creed. It's definitely Assassin's Creed. So I will obviously keep everyone updated with my thoughts as the weeks go on and as I'm playing it, because it's probably going to take me 80 to 100 hours to get through it. But from what I've played so far, I'm blown away from what Odyssey was. And Odyssey was dog shit. But the good news is the people that made Odyssey are actually making a new game called Immortals Phoenix Rising, which is basically like the Zelda Breath of the Wild like clone, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be like during the Greek time, or I don't know, man. But anyway, they're making a new game, like a fully new RPG, and I think it's going to be great, because if Odyssey was like a different game, I think it would have been phenomenal, but it is a shit Assassin's Creed game. So, anyway, that's what I've played this week. What do I plan on playing in the upcoming week? So my main thing that I'm going to be playing is, mainly Assassin's Creed Valhalla for sure is going to be the main thing that I'm going to play. I think that there's going to be a few like PS3 games that jump in the next week. When it comes to playing, week or two. The 2 main ones that I'm thinking off the top of my head are going to be possibly Enemy Front and BioShock 2. And then I think we may try to do like RE5 or something at some point. So those might pop in. I want to also work on some things on my own now that I got done Tomb Raider on the PS3. There's a few other games that I kind of want to play or like self-boost on the PS3 upcoming. So, that's what I've been playing. That's what I plan on playing. Let's talk about some topics. So hold on. So if you guys don't know, I do cover topics that people want me to discuss, kind of like FAQ every single week. So if there's any topics that I don't discuss this week or something that came up and you want me to discuss, leave it in the comments of this video and I will cover it in the next week's Trophy Talk. So starting off with Father Jack, he says, I've always wanted a port of Oblivion and remaster of Red Dead 1. So, I've heard nothing but good things about Oblivion. Personally, I've never really gotten into Elder Scrolls games, but I can totally understand why people do. And I do kind of want to get into Skyrim and just see what it's all about. I did play Elder Scrolls Online when it came out like a few years ago, but like it's definitely an interesting game, but that kind of just made me take a step back because I was like, holy shit, there's a lot you have to do in this game. From like an online standpoint, not just like, you know, checklist stuff, from an online standpoint. But I would love to get into Skyrim and play it on the PS3, PS4, and then Oblivion port would be cool too, because I would love to experience those Oblivion, obviously, in Skyrim, because those are like the two best. Remaster of Red Dead 1 would be awesome. I've actually been asking for this for a while. I would love to see a remaster of Red Dead 1 and Grand Theft Auto 4. I would love to see a remaster of those two games. So, from Rockstar at least. Oh, and I would obviously love to see like a port of like Midnight Club 3, but whatever. Actually, I do want to mention something. There was a question asked in the last video that asked me if I wanted what games I would love to see a remaster in. A game that I would love to see a remaster in that I did not mention was The Simpsons Hit and Run. I would love to see a remaster or just a port of Simpsons Hit and Run. That would make my day. We have another comment here from Set and Sun. I don't have any questions. I think you're just one chill dude. Well, thank you very much. I try to be as chill as possible because, you know, well, I don't even know. So I don't know what you would know. but yeah, thank you for that. Do appreciate that. Up next, we have NCS Fan. Nice overview of backlog stuff. I focus entirely on multiplayer, then date of release until a group really wants to work on a game. Me and two others are randomly about to do COD World War II, and the podcast should be fun. So yeah, last week when I was talking about the backlog stuff, I was kind of just saying that people need to, or people should not need to, but a good way to go about it is people could or can prioritize what they think is the most important. So I know a lot of people prioritize multiplayer over anything. If you can find a group of people to do a game, or if you can find a person to do a game, just get the multiplayer done, especially if it's something that's super fast. Call of Duty obviously is not something that's super fast, but if you have a group of people together that are willing to do it and you can consistently play, then definitely, you know, try to knock it out. I don't really know what I do with my backlog at the end of the day. I mean, I do focus on multiplayer, but then I think I'm trying to focus more on franchises and, you know, putting things in here and there. So I'm a little bit random with mine, but yeah, the podcast was fun. The last episode was almost 3 hours long. We took a lot of time to just do an introductions of kind of who we are, where the podcast came from, and everything of that sort. So there was a bigger introduction than the typical podcast will be, but it was definitely a lot of fun. It's just normal conversation between, you know, a few people. It's nothing too crazy at all. Then up next we have XOXO saying, thanks for answering my questions. I just followed the forum post. Would be interesting to let you review my trophy list, but not as big. So yeah, as for the trophy list reviews, I've gotten this question a few times. Oh, I'm assuming you're talking about the forum post for the server shutdowns. That's like literally the only forum post I follow on PSMP because it's somewhat informative. But as for the trophy list reviews, like I said, I've said this before, I'm not going to make videos out of trophy lists, but if someone wants me to look through their trophy list on stream one day when I'm streaming, I don't have a problem with that. Just I probably won't make a dedicated I will not make a dedicated video on it. And then Micro Sam responds and says to check out psprices.com for sale discounts and DLCs. That is the website that I was talking about. I think it's PS Prices. But yeah. That is a useful website because it kind of tells you what's on sale, if it's the cheapest it's been, if it's been cheaper, you know, so. Then we have Foamy Webbing saying 3 seconds from that hour episode. Yeah, I know. It's quite a shame, isn't it? I should have stuck it out for the hour, but it is what it is. Up next we have Mr. Trippy 11. The backlog is always growing. Have to know when to stop on a game and move on. Time spent sometime pushing for a plat that you could play a whole new other game. Finding a balance is important, I guess, especially when time can be limited with work and family commitments. That is true. That is very true. So that's part of the reason why I haven't started certain games. Because, you know, the multiplayer grind would just be too ridiculous. When you look at games like Bad Company 1 is like a good example. Battlefield Hardline. I mean, these are games where like it just takes time. And granted, I have done really stupid games like Far Cry 2 and things of that sort. But when I was doing Far Cry 2, which by the way, I was doing 100% by myself. Actually, I should say like 90% by myself because I needed someone for multi-kills. And then once I was done the multi-kills and the revives, then the rest was done by myself. But when I was doing that, I wasn't really playing that game every single night. I would play it, and then if I didn't feel like doing it one night and I wanted to do something else, I would kind of put it down. But recently, within the past few years for me, it's actually come down to like, I really don't put a game down until I'm done what I need to do. So like a good example is like Dead Island. Like I got a lot of things done in Dead Island, but I didn't want to put Dead Island done till I was like fully done the online. Now that I'm done the online, it can go away for a little bit. I don't care. But I wanted to do that online. I wasn't going to stop doing it until that was done. There's only really a few games on my list that I've kind of put them down. And it's not because I don't want to do the game or I don't feel like doing the game. It's just because I kind of lose like my thought for it. So one of them recently is Kark's Drift Racing Online. That's a game that literally requires me to just AFK. And I just haven't put the time in to do it just because like not that I don't want to, but it's just like, I don't know. It's just weird. Another game like that I've recently like, you know, played and then put down, mainly because it pissed me off is Beach Buggy Racing. That game has done so much to my mental that like, I don't even know if I want to play it again, but I'll go back to it at some point. But those are probably the two games. Another franchise that I've kind of put down and it's not really my doing is like the F1 games. I really, 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 really want to do the F1 games, especially the F1 games on the PS3 because of how old they are. And I actually started F1 2014 with 2 people, and I wasn't able to do it with the 2 of them, and then one of them disappeared. There's basically a trophy where you have to win the drivers or constructors championship in co-op, and you actually have to be like legitimately good at the game. And I was playing with 2 people that were, you know, pretty decent at the game, but like you have to basically come like first, second every race or like top 3 every single race. And I don't know how many races there are in a season, but it was like, it was painful. It was painful. And then one of the guys just like disappeared. So that's like another franchise that I've kind of like started and I've kind of like not gone back to, and I really, really need to. But next up we have J Fry. How can one have so many platinums and a life at the same time? It is difficult, I'll tell you that much. I haven't really, I mean, I think, let me look at something. I'm not really sure, but like I haven't really earned as many trophies as like I had in the past. But I mean, I the thing is I can go like 4 or 5 days without earning a trophy, and I really don't care. But you know, it's just, it comes down to finding like a balance is mainly what it comes down to. Because I'm not gonna lie, there definitely are some nights where, you know, people want to hang out, friends of mine want to hang out, and I kind of am just like, yeah, I'm busy or like something like that. And it's not because I don't want to hang out with them, but it's just, and it's not because I want to play games, but I just like want to. I'm I'm a very like homebody person. I really don't like to go out, to be completely honest. So I think that helps me with like playing games, but I don't play games at like a ridiculous rate of like earning a platinum a week. That would be cool, but it's definitely not something that I do. So I just kind of balance it out. And if I go a week without earning trophies, I'm not mad about it. It is what it is. It's just a little hobby on the side. So I will say that, playing games and platinuming games and getting trophies and then having a life at the same time can be difficult. But most of the time, most of my gaming is happening at night during the week. I really don't game too much on the weekend at all. The only time I really game on the weekend is, like Friday night if I'm home, and Saturday night, or sorry, Sunday night. I really don't play games at all, really Saturday too much, or Sunday until the nighttime. So I really don't game during the weekend. That's kind of like downtime for like, even though gaming is downtime to me, that's just like sitting around and doing nothing, or like watching TV shows, or, like just not doing anything. So I will say that it can be difficult and daunting, but it is not something that is unachievable. To have trophies and have a life is completely doable. Okay, let me make sure this is still recording. It is. We're at 26 minutes. Cool, cool, cool. Typically, I have OBS on my other screen to the right of me, but with how I've been streaming recently, I actually have a webcam up, and I don't want the webcam to show OBS, because then it's like you're watching a game and like seeing a game in the webcam. So I had to move stuff. It's complicated, but trust me, it works. Up next, we have Western Galaxy. It says, hello again. Hello once again from Romania. Hello there. Thanks for answering my previous question. I have a few more. I also think your channel is a hidden gem. You deserve more subs. Well, thank you. It's kind of what everyone says. If I deserve them, they'll come around. I'm a very humble person. I truly, I don't think I'm entitled to anything, but if it happens, it happens. What unused settings locations would you like for the Assassin's Creed series? Personally, you want to see one in Mongolia. So, to be fair, I'm perfectly fine with any time period when it comes to Assassin's Creed. Just because I really like history. I think some interesting places would be like, I'm just trying to think. One that I really like, which I think kind of builds on Valhalla, I would love to see one like during, like in England, during like when there was like knights and stuff. I think that like during that time period, I think having like an Aztec time period would be kind of cool. I think having like if you've ever been like out west, there's like all of these like old, I guess, like native areas out there. And I don't really know exactly what time they're around, but it would be cool to have something like during that time period, just like native time period. Personally, I know that people aren't like a huge fan of this, but one of my favorite Assassin's Creeds from a time period, just because of the amount of history that is like in it, like true history that's in it, is Assassin's Creed 3. I know that Connor may not be the best character, but that time period to me is just so awesome. I love that time period. So I'm a big fan of that game. Big sucker for Assassin's Creed 3 for that reason. But I mean, I don't really have anything in particular. I think, back when there was like knights and stuff, I think that would be cool. And mainly the main reason I thought of that is because with like Game of Thrones being around a few years ago, I was like, that'd be dope if they had like an Assassin's Creed that was like kind of set like when there was like knights and, like powerful families and things like that. That would be awesome. That would be pretty cool. Mongolia would be cool as well. I definitely agree with that. But honestly, I'm open for anything. I'm open for anything. As long as I get an Assassin's Creed game that isn't Odyssey, I'm cool for anything. And to be fair, Odyssey could have been cool. Like, it could have been a good game. That was such a good time period for them to pick. but it was executed so poorly. So poorly. Question number 2, what games based on movies would you like to see, and vice versa? Game or games based on movies? So you're saying like what games would I like to see that were like movie based, or that a game that could be that could be based on a movie? Okay. Well, like I mentioned, not a movie but a show. I would love to see a game during or around like the lore of Game of Thrones that isn't the shit Game of Thrones game that came out by Atlas. That would be a cool one. Kind of based on another TV show. I don't really watch too much TV or like movies. But another one that I'd have to say that would be really cool, which was something that was already a thing, but it kind of got like canned. It would be cool to have like a game that's basically like the show The Mandalorian that's out right now, where you kind of play as a Mandalorian or just like a bounty hunter in general, and you have like a task that's like seems kind of like not a big deal at first, but becomes like a super big deal. That'd be like a cool game. From like a movie, I'm not sure. Like part of me wants to say like Indiana Jones, but like we already have Uncharted, so you can't really say Indiana Jones. I don't know, man. I don't know. That's a really good question. I don't know. I think I'm drawing a blank. I mean, mainly from TV shows, because that's really what I've watched. Not the thing that with movies is like it seems like it would be a good concept, but it's just gonna not be a good concept at the end of the day. Like if you think about like anything, like if they were to do anything Game of Thrones related, like you already know the outcome of it. So what's the point of like playing the game kind of? I mean, there still is a point, but like what is the point? But just like during that time period would be cool. And then games that I would like to see as movies. I think they tried it, but it'd be cool to see a Hitman movie that doesn't seem cheesy. Not really sure how they would do it, but that would be kind of cool. I'm not really sure if there's again, it's the same thing with like games to movies or like shows would be so hard because like it's just going to be so cheesy. It's kind of like the Uncharted movie coming out, like that was just like I guarantee you that that movie's going to be poop. Like let's be honest, it's going to be poop. Or like when the Assassin's Creed movie came out and it was like, yo, this is dope, man, this is awesome, and then the movie ended up being like meh, just because like it didn't even like really follow the games, which was kind of, you know, weird. But I don't know, man. I really don't know. Games to movies. That's a good one. It's a good question. I guess an interesting, I mean, it wouldn't be interesting. It'd be kind of weird, but like, I don't think so. If they did like a TV show or something like on, it's hard to say like on the Souls games, but like not really like on it, like a TV show in that world with like those crazy ass looking like monsters and everything. Like that might be, I mean, I don't know what your plot would be, but hey, that's a pretty cool place to start. But no, that's a good question. I'm actually, my brain is in a pretzel right now thinking about that. I don't know. That's what I'm going to have to go with for now. If I have an update, I will definitely let you know. I may have to, that one may have to marinate for a little bit to come up with something good. And then third question, what is your best gaming experience ever? My best gaming experience ever. I mean, it sounds kind of broad, but I guess essentially what got me into or what helped me or kind of got me into trophy hunting, which was just like playing games back on the original Xbox to like 100%, or just trying to do everything in the game. You know, if I was playing a racing game, unlocking all the cars, or, you know, Simpsons Hit and Run, doing like every single thing in the game, you know, all of that stuff, just like grinding games out was definitely, like a big thing that helped me get into trophies. So there's actually three things I'm going to talk about here. So one of them is that's like a big thing, because when I did that, I was, I was younger, right? Another like pretty big gaming moment for me was when I got my Wii. I basically played Mario Kart like religiously. Mario Kart on the Wii religiously. And one of the things that I tried to do on Mario Kart, which I was never successful in, I was very close but never successful, was getting 3-star ratings on all of the time trials. Because if you got a 3-star rating on all of the time trials on an account, when you went and played that account online, you would have the 3 little stars next to your name online. You'd have like a gold steering wheel for your rank with 3 stars. And I remember like being like that's so intimidating, kind of. Although when I played Mario Kart Online, I was basically clapping anyway. But I remember that. I remember trying to go for that when I when I got my Wii and when I was playing it. And then another thing that was another like gaming experience for me is just the early days of trophy hunting. I mean, we talked about this on the podcast, and trophy hunting has just evolved into like such a thing now, where it's not just something that you kind of just fall into. Back when I started, and back when trophies like were like started and they were like a thing for the first few years, you didn't like intentionally go in to like become a trophy hunter. You kind of just like were like, what are these things popping up? And the next thing you know, you were collecting more and more and more, and now you're considered a trophy hunter. Nowadays, you have like a conscious thought of like, okay, I want to start doing this. And people like start like 100% accounts. That was never a thing back when like trophies started. It was never a thing to say like, I'm going to 100% every single game that comes up. When you really didn't know what trophies were, or I'm going to start a new account because I want to 100% every game that I play. From a trophy standpoint, it wasn't really a thing, but it's a conscious decision that people make now. So I would say like the early days of trophy hunting, when you were just kind of just like playing a game, and then the next thing you know, you're like, oh shit, what are these things? And then you look into it and you're like, oh, I can get more of these things if I do this and this. And then the next thing you know, you have 5 platinums and 10 platinums and, stuff like that. It's crazy. I go back and watch some of my first platinum videos that I uploaded on this channel when I literally had like 30 platinums or something. And I'm like, holy shit, back when I had like 30 platinums back in those days, like that was even still a big number back then. And I feel like nowadays, like I don't even have a lot of platinums compared to some people, although I try to keep mine to be like somewhat respectable. From a numbers standpoint, there's people that have way more, but I would just say the early days of trophy hunting, not just for myself, but like for everybody was definitely like its own experience. Like, I don't know if you would call it a gaming experience, but definitely its own experience. But thank you for those questions, Western Galaxy. I really do appreciate that. You had my brain in a pretzel for question number 2, but thank you. Up next, we have Football Villain 56. As a trophy hunter, Snickel, if you ever want and you don't mind you being on the podcast, just let you know. I will definitely let you know. We haven't really started fielding for any guests yet. We're probably going to do like 5 or 10 episodes, just the 3 of us, just to kind of get comfortable with doing it, because I was talking to the guys after it, and it's just like, it's a new experience for some people, and just in general, like just in that like environment. So I want everyone to kind of be like comfortable talking to each other and having, even though we already do it anyway, but it's just, you have this thought in your head when you're like recording a video where it's like, wait, like this is going out to people. It's not just us talking and have a conversation. Like I need to be, I almost need to be a little mindful of what I'm saying. And it's just a little bit of a comfort level. If you guys ever do a podcast, you'll definitely know what I'm talking about, but we're just going to kind of, I'm not saying that was an issue at all, and that's going to be an issue, but I think it's better for the 3 of us if we just iron that out with the first like 5 or 10 episodes, and then we'll go from there. But I will definitely keep you updated if we, once we start fielding people. Damn Disco says, hey man, hope you're well. I am doing fantastic. PS Prices may be the website you're referring to, checking the gaming prices. Yes, I believe that is the website. I think you hit the nail on the head there. One thing that I've never really understood is why games are separated into regions. I've touched on this. You've touched on this in the past, but you think region stacks shouldn't exist unless there's a major difference between the regional version of the game, but there are some games which don't release on other regions as well. For example, I watched your Maze Platinum video and I thought the game looked really interesting and definitely a game I could be interested in, but it was not available in the EU store right now, or the UK store at least. Maybe there's a legitimate reason for this, and I don't know if it's possible to make another account which can access the correct region, but it seems strange that games such as Maze, which wouldn't need to be altered in any way, weren't available in the stores for launch. The store isn't just simply universal. Yeah, I mean, having a universal store would definitely be more useful. I'm not really sure. There's probably reasons why they haven't done that. So to answer your question about if you want to buy games from different regions and you don't have that region on your account, you can do that. You can kind of make dummy accounts that are in different regions. You buy the games on that account and then you download them. And as long as that account is activated on your PlayStation 3 or PlayStation 4, you can play any of those games on your main profile. So like an example of this is like, if I've only stacked a few games, but like if I go down here region wise, I have Drawn to Death and Drawn to Death Japan. So how I have both of those is because I own Drawn to Death, and then I was able to get Drawn to Death Japan from a Japan account. And as long as I had that account active on my PlayStation 4, I was able to play the game and load it on this account. Another one is Deformers. I have Deformers NA and I have Deformers EU. I own the game on the EU store, and I also own it physically. So I downloaded the EU one, but then I played it on this account, and then it gives me the EU version of the game. So there's definitely ways to get around. If there's a game that's in just one store and you want it, there's definitely ways to get it. I don't know how it is nowadays. I'm pretty sure you can just release it in a store and say that it has a different trophy list. I'm not sure why Maze isn't on a different store. That's actually a really good question. If you want to know the answer to that one, funny story. I'm kind of like, I wouldn't say I'm like good buddies with, but I know the guy that developed Maze, and over at, Can I Talk? I know the guy that developed Maze, and I talk to him every once in a while. So if you want to like ask him why it isn't, or if he can, you can tweet at him you could just tweet at their studio, Treefall Studios. Just tweet at him and ask him. There's probably a reason why. I'm not sure. But he's also the guy who made Perplexing Orb 2, and I'm going to be playing Perplexing Orb 1 soon, but I don't know. I do think that there should be a universal store. That would make things a lot useful, but I can understand why there wouldn't be. But I'm not really sure why games are region stacked nowadays. Definitely back in the day, games were region stacked because of limitations and because there was big things that were changing. So if you look at a game like Saints Row the Third, you know, Saints Row the Third was released in like globally as Saints Row the Third, and then it was released as a German exclusive. I'm pretty sure there was a difference that was made to why it was released that way. But a lot of games on the PS3, if it was released per a different region, it was usually because the game was altered significantly and it warranted like a new game. I don't think games should have regions unless that's what happens. If the game is literally the same game, copy and paste with no changes, it shouldn't have a different region, but I'm not sure. And I don't really think that Sony has ever really explained why that's a thing. Again, if you want to know, I don't know if he'll really answer. You can like DM him if you want to and ask, because I think Perplexing Orb 2 actually was released in North America and EU. It probably has, yeah, NA and EU. It probably has something to do with the way that they submit it to Sony. You probably have to submit it, and you have to submit it for each store probably. And I'm not sure. I don't know if you have to fill an application out for each region that you make, or like if you're making one for NA and EU release that you can say like, I want to combine. Sure. I'm not sure. I don't know the ins and outs. I mean, that could be a thing that that's how it's like. But then you would also, if that's a thing, you would also wonder like, well, why aren't like AAA games doing it? Right. You know, Assassin's Creed comes out. Why doesn't it come out NA, EU? But then you have other games like, you know, again, it makes it so confusing, because then you have other games that come out like Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which is a huge AAA game, and that has a stack of an NA and EU, you know? And I think that partially has to do with EA, because they also did that for, even though it was a remaster, they did that for Burnout Paradise, which doesn't make sense to me. The original one wasn't like that, but then the remaster was. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if there's applications that are filled out, and if you fill them out, you can have different trophies. I'm not sure. All I know is I'm not a fan of it. Unless there is some sort of change, I'm not a fan of it. I hope that covered the question. I apologize if it didn't. Damn Disco, if it didn't, let me know. I'll cover it in the next trophy talk if I miss anything. But it does suck that certain games aren't available because they're not in the store. Like, I don't know why Maze would not be in the EU store. There's no reason why it shouldn't be, other than if it, again, you have to fill out an application and pay fees to get it in the EU store. Next question is from GMZ. One more topic I'd like you to talk about is why sometimes extremely active online servers get shut down. Like, I remember Resistance 2, MAG, the Uncharted games, and maybe even Starhawk and Twisted Metal. Dead games like Inversion, for example, are still up even though the PS5 is here now. So that's actually a good question. It seems like a lot of these games that get shut down are usually like bigger games, which I don't really understand, because you would think the bigger games have a bigger player base, which they definitely do. My speculation to why they don't get shut down is because they are not peer-to-peer. That would be the only reason that I would assume that a game would get shut down, the servers would get shut down, because the developers don't want to maintain the servers anymore. What they have to maintain, I'm not really sure, because it's not like people are like hacking the game. I mean, the only game that happens to is like Call of Duty, but take a look at this, right? Call of Duty has always been a peer-to-peer game, which means like the servers can never shut down for Call of Duty. They'll always be up because you need someone to host the game. You know, Activision isn't hosting the games. Somebody is. Usually the people hosting them are hackers. That's how you get effed over at the end of the day. But yeah, I mean, that would be my guess, especially a game like MAG, because I'm pretty sure MAG was like had huge lobbies. I don't know the exact numbers on it, but I'm sure you couldn't host that on like somebody's like internet. They probably had to like they probably had to have dedicated servers for that. But that would be my guess. It has to do something with dedicated servers and peer-to-peer servers, but I'm not sure. You know what, we can look it up right now. So is Inversion PS3 peer-to-peer? I mean, it's probably not going to come Inversion game PlayStation. I heard this game actually like breaks your fucking PS3. Play through compelling story, battle with up to 12 friends in gravity-defying multiplayer maps and modes. Let's see if... come on. Let's see if Wikipedia... No. I've always wanted to play this game, but I hear that it literally breaks your PS3. It can break your PS3. I mean, I'm not 100% sure. I don't know what's going on with the architect behind it, but that would be my guess. Games that are still up now, either the companies they literally don't know they're up. They don't know they're up, and the servers are just there, which I think is fine. There's no maintenance you have to do for a game like Inversion that gets 5 players a month. I'm pretty sure you can just combine servers together. But yeah, that would be my guess. My guess would be something to do with peer-to-peer. It's either peer-to-peer or they have servers and they just don't know that they're up. They're literally just like, whatever. But I don't know. I really hope that no PS3 games go down. That makes me sad. That makes me sad. And ones that did go down, I hope they come back somehow. Up next we have Beamer231. Do you think Sony will stop the ability to stop syncing up your trophies on the PS3 as it's like 13 years old now? If they did and gave a month's notice, what games would you platinum on the PS3? Oh, that's funny. I was actually just about to mention this. With GMC's question. So do I think that Sony will ever stop the ability to stop syncing trophies on the PlayStation 3? No. If you want me to be completely honest, I do not think that they will ever stop the ability to sync trophies from the PS3. And the main reason why is because it is on their network, the PlayStation network. So I feel like for them to do that, there would need to be some sort of change in their architecture behind the scene when it comes to it. So I think it would be more of a headache for them to stop than to just keep letting it go, if that makes sense. Because I don't know like the stress that would put on that puts on their network, but I would assume that the PS3 player base is so small that like it really doesn't matter to them that stuff is like happening. And really, what do they, if they take away support, online support or syncing support from the PS3, what kind of, like, my thought is that they have to do more. They would have to do more to take that ability away than to just literally keep it there. That would just be my take on it. But if it did happen, what games would I platinum on the PS3? Well, I would start by doing probably Killzone 2 and Killzone 3. And then I would probably do MotoGP 10, 11. I don't know what I would do. Let me see. Let's see what I have on here. Let's just go down. We'll do PS3. Alphabetical. We'll just go down. I'll tell you the ones that I would do. I would probably try to do all the Air Conflicts games. AVP and Alien Colonial Marines I would do. Anarchy Rush Hour I would do because that would literally take me like 4 hours. Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag I would have to do because that's literally the last Assassin's Creed game I need on the PlayStation 3. I would like to do Arkham City and Arkham Origins. Battlefield 3. That would be a doozy. Blood Drive would be a doozy to do. I'd probably do Blades of Time. I think that's actually a pretty good game. To be fair, I would try to do all my PS3 games. I would. I mean, if that's what it came down to, that's what I would do. That's a difficult question because I literally would try to do them all. I don't think I would be able to, but I would try to do every PS3 game that's on my list right now. I don't know if I would start new ones, but I would try to do all the ones that I have on my list. But I don't think that the service will ever stop because it would take more for them to stop it than to keep it. I just think personally it would. But I hope I never see the day. Next up, we have JGM4789. How I'm tackling my backlog is that I have 2 folders. One is a pool of 50 games where I add 1 a month to the first. In cases where I need to do multiplayer because of server shutdowns. In the Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor, I can add the game early, but still counts as the game I'll add next month. The second is a pool of 10 games that I play during the month, and I take games from the pool of 50 to fill it up back to 10 on the first. The goal is to have a steady variety of games of all genres and series. I do not stray from and hopefully get the pool of 50 as close to 0 by the end of the year as I can. While with the 10, I sometimes play 3 to 7 shorter games with 1 to 2 weeks spend at least 2 weeks playing, more time consuming. So basically you have a list of 50 that you do for like the year, and then you have 10 that you kind of rotate, if I'm reading that correctly. Rotate during the month. Fair enough. That's fair enough. I think that's fine if you want to like actually just play every game in your backlog, but the thing that I find with like leaving it down to like numbers like that is if I say that I want to beat 10 games this month, one of my 10 games may be Mortal Kombat 9. Mortal Kombat 9 in and of itself is going to take me the whole month to do. So do I pick 9 other games that are, you know what I mean? So it's almost like you have to pick like 10 games that average out to like 100 hours or something. You know, I definitely see that. I can understand that from like a number standpoint, like just wanting to complete so many games a year or play so many games a year. But for me, for my backlog, it just comes down to like just playing. Like I just play when I start playing it, I try to not put it down until I'm done. So like Valhalla, I probably will not put down until I platinum it. And that's typically what I try to do. Just because it keeps me focused on the game. And I do have like a little bit of time after it when I get a platinum and I'm like, well, I don't know what to do now. But typically like since I have like in place what, you know, games I'm alternating or stuff like that, that like confusion, I guess, not confusion, but like that, like, well, what do I do with my time now? Kind of isn't like a thing anymore just because I kind of know what I'm getting into next, which is nice with the alternating franchise because if I know I'm alternating between Hitman and Star Wars, when I do a Hitman game, I know I have to do a Star Wars game next. When I finish my Star Wars game, I know I have to do a Hitman game next. So it's like I know what I'm getting into before I actually get into it, which helps me mentally. Up next, we have, well, GMZ, I think that this was partially with the last one. So regarding my topic, don't you think it's stressful to finish our backlog and games, not enjoying games because of all the time in our heads and there's hundreds of other games that we want to be played and play? I think the only solution is to be extremely picky in games, choose the best of the best, narrow down to the list of unplayed games. So I think you added that on from what you asked the last time, GMZ. But yes, that's what it comes down to for me, for my backlog, is I play kind of what sounds stupid, but like what I want to play, or what like is the best in my mind at the moment. And then I just play it. I play it until it's done. So like, I'm not going to play through and then like the next game I'll be like, hey, I really want to play, like Ben 10 or, some random fucking game that makes no sense. No, I'm going to pick something that like I actually want to play, not like some random ass game. I used to do this thing, and I may do it again. I'm not really sure. I used to do this random number generator thing where like I would, pick a random number and it would pick a game on my list. I haven't done that in a while, mainly because I haven't updated my list with the games that I bought, but that's another way to go about it. If you have like 100 games and you're like, I don't know where to start, just do a random number generator. And if it says to pick game, if it picks 40, then go to whatever game 40 is and play that game. It's another way of going about it. And then Football Villain responds and says, you make a really good point. With me, this is just what works for me. And when I'm cleaning up a backlog, I focus on 4 games, 2 for each console, 2 for PS3, 2 for PS4, 1 game with online trophies, 1 game with offline, no online trophies. And really, I do that because I keep myself not tied to one game. I really have dedicated on really cleaning my backlog. But one thing is for sure, if you clean your backlog, don't add anything. I know even when I want to add a game, I make sure I at least try and complete 100% 5 games on my list before adding another. Yeah, I mean, truly, I don't really... I try to not even add games till I 100% something. It may be a thought in my mind, but I really don't add them. I may buy games, but I don't put them on my list. And then the last topic we have here, we have Titan God Gaming. I know you say you don't like easy games, but if you don't stack the games, though, you just do the games in North America version ones, is that okay in your mind? Also, I know you said that you would check our list on stream, but I was wondering if you could do a quick look at my account for a minute. My PSN is Titan God Gaming. Yeah, I can look at your account. I'll look at after I record this. Definitely get a little look-see through. So yes, I am not a fan of easy games, but I do think that it's acceptable to play just one stack of the game. So if you live in North America and you want to play all the Radalika games, go ahead and play them all. If you just do the North American version of them, go right ahead. If you live in EU and you want to play all the Radalika games, go ahead and play them just one time on all the EU games. I have played easy games. I'm not going to sit here and say I've never played easy games. I played a slew of easy games back in the day. Not really back in the day, but see if I can find it. I played a slew, like 5 easy games back to back to back. Just because I was like, whatever, fuck it. Let me see. Oh, right here. So it was 4. So I played Tower of Dragon Asia, Bird Game Plus, Full Blast, Super Weekend Mode. 4 dirt easy platinums. Got them all, got June 2nd, June 2nd, June 4th, June 5th. And they're only the NA version. So like, I think if you want to, as long as, yes, long story short, yes, it is acceptable to just play the game one time and play the game. That's completely acceptable. There's nothing wrong with that. You're experiencing the game. You want to experience the game. That's perfectly fine. And that's different than like stacking other games. So that, to me, that's different than stacking, like if you wanted to play Assassin's Creed 4 on the PS3 and the PS4, to me, that's fine because you have to completely play back through the game. Now, I know some people are against this because they feel like you have an advantage. If you've played the game once, you know what to do on the second time you play through. True, but you have to actually physically play the game. Although on Radalika games, you do have to play the game. The game takes 5 minutes. So I really don't think that that's almost like auto-popping to an extent. So that's why I'm not a fan of stacking easy games. I'm a fan of stacking, but I'm not a fan of stacking easy games. But I am okay. I think it is acceptable to just play the easy game one time. I'm not gonna, bust anyone's balls for that. Go right ahead and do it. I will not make fun of you. Now, if your list is only easy games, there may be a problem, but you can play them. There's nothing wrong with that. So anyway, that wraps up all the topics. That's actually the most topics that I think I've had while doing the trophy talk. If you guys have any topics that you want me to discuss in the next trophy talk, do make sure to leave those down in the comments below. I think this is actually going to wrap this trophy talk up because I've talked about everything that I could. I'm still sad that I don't have a PS5, but hopefully one day I will be able to find one. Again, if you guys want to check out the podcast, it will be linked down in the description below, along with a few other links, my Discord, my Twitter, my Twitch. So if you want to go check any of that stuff out, you can link it all. It's all linked down there. You can just do some clicks and get to some places. If you want to leave any comments or if you want to leave any topics for the podcast, you can leave them in the comments of the podcast, or you can tweet at Rogue Hunters on Twitter. Just tweet there or leave the comment, and we'll kind of filter, topics to talk about. We do want to do like group topics or like community topics. We want to cover a few of those. So, but if there is anything that you do want us to discuss, you can just leave it in the comments of those videos, or again on Twitter. Tweet at us on Twitter. We'll talk about it. It'll be nice and fun. Anyway, I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like. Let me know again down in the comments below any topics that you want me to discuss in the next trophy talk, what you guys have been up to this week, what games you've been playing, what you plan on playing. If you got the PS5, I'm not like salty about it or anything. But yeah, let me know about all that stuff down in the comments below. Anyway, I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like. If you've made it this far and you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing for more trophy content like this. And I hope to see you all around sometime soon.